Hi everyone, how's it going? Are you ready to take on today's challenge? Today we are going to use the Create Vite scaffolding we introduced in the last lesson to build a project for to-do list. Of course, today's challenge is only a small part of the full project and will focus solely on project creation and setting up the item. Let's dive right in. First, make a copy of the initial React project we created in the last lesson. If you want to practicing using Create Vite, feel free to start from scratch by following the steps we discussed in the last lesson. Once the copy is made, rename the directory. Let's call it 11 Challenge To-Do List. Perhaps create To-Do project, as this lesson focuses on the creation process. Now, open the terminal and type code space dot to open the project in VS Code. Zoom in a bit. There are the files created by Create Vite, as seen in the last lesson. First, let's change the title to To-Do List. Next, delete the app component and its corresponding style file, as we'll recreate them from scratch in the next lesson. These files aren't needed for now. After deleting them, don't forget to remove the import statement from main.jsx. For now, I'll also temporarily remove strict mode, as that will be discussed later. In the index.css file, let's delete all the styles from it as well. This clears out everything unnecessary for today's lesson. I'll upload the current state of the files to GitHub so you can download and use them as a reference. Let's launch the development server so we can develop and see live updates simultaneously. The server will be available at localhost on port 3000. Do you remember this port? It's the one we changed in the last lesson. The original one is 5173, but we updated to 3000. Now, open it in your browser. First, let's create a container in which we'll write the HTML structure for the to-do list using JSX. Create the outer container to wrap the entire to-do list items. Do you remember how to write class in JSX? You have to use class name instead of class, right? If you're still unfamiliar with JSX syntax, revisit Lesson 6, where I covered common JSX syntax and usage. Then create a second layer for the item container. This will be the main container for each to-do item, containing the date, title, and description. In date section, break this into two parts, day and month. Then the content section, this will be the main content area of the to-do item, further divided into the title and description. Now let's add content to every part. Cool, that's all for the structure. Now let's add styles. Open index.css file. First, let's set box sizing, border box for all elements to ensure padding and borders are included in width and height calculations, preventing calculation confusion. Then set the background color of HTML and body to light beige. Define a monospaced font for a simple and code-like feel. Pay attention here. Outside of our container, there is a root div. We need to apply styles to this root div as well. Set width to 100% and the minimum height to 100 VH. And then center the content using Flexbox. Inside it, there is the container. Set the width to 100% with a max width of 60 rem. This will make it not too wide when in a wide screen. I think we don't need this 100 width. Add padding of 2 rem. Use Flex Layout to arrange items vertically. Then the item for every to-do item. Set the width to 100% with padding of 2 rem. This time use a white background and a dark gray text color. Apply a flex layout for horizontal alignment. At the border radius of 0.5 rem. Font size 1 rem. A 2 pixels black border. On hover, shift the item slightly up and left by 2 pixels. And add a shadow with box shadow 6 pixels. Or maybe 8 pixels. You can see that the animation effect feels a bit stiff. So we can add a transition effect to the item, or 0.2 seconds ease. For the day, set the font size to 3 rem. For the month, use 1.6 rem. Then the date container. Add a green background with padding, 1 rem top and bottom, 2 rems left and right. Use Flex for vertical alignment with justify content space between. Center line the text and set it to bold. Set the border same with item. Set the border radius to 0.3 rem. Or maybe let's make it slightly larger, 0.4 rem. Then content section. Let's add padding 1 rem, top and bottom, and let it occupy the remaining width on the right at the left margin of 2 rem. For the title, let me add a h2 tag to it. Then since H2 comes with the default margin, remove the top margin for better alignment. Set the description font size to 1.2 rem. Cool. So we have finished our first to-do item. To add multiple to-do items, duplicate the item container code. Here, I'll duplicate it 4 times. After duplicating, you'll notice the items are slightly packed. To fix this, add a gap of 1 rem to the container. Finally, modify the content of each item. That's it. We've created a simple version of a to-do list. Take a moment to think. Are there any issues with how we structure this project? Could there be better solutions? That's what we'll discuss in the next lesson. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.